We played some fantastic games in June because it was the Expo month, as well as us going on holiday and lots of gaming opportunities. So let's have a look at what new notable games we played last month.
Hi, I'm Julian and this is Libby and we are Box Meeples. So as always, we are going through the games that are new and notable in June that we played. And as Libby said, yeah, with the UK Games Expo and my roaming around those halls, hundreds of board games, I played quite a lot.
Yes, I mean, and you did get to see some more than we actually have counted down in plays, but I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll cover quite a few of the fun ones here.
Yeah, so I only included games I played sufficiently because often when you're walking around the halls, you get little demos. So if I didn't really, or if you just played a turn, I didn't really include those. So these are all games I played a whole game of.
So on the stats, BG stats, of course, as usual, we track all our games on. It gives us lots of little fun statistics.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of plays of Boop is quite notable. Has been played so much that it's made its way to your game of the month.
Yeah,
this
so
month.
if you want to find out about the genius that is Boop, have a watch of the Game of the Month because I talk about my love of bouncing cats on the bed quite a bit.
Yeah, well, it's one we took on holiday with us. It's one that you've introduced your daughters to this month. So there's been a lot of opportunity to play. It's very easy to get out and play in a short space of time. So you can sort of fit it in over a cup of coffee whilst waiting for a plane at an airport, at Father's Day, waiting for food in a restaurant. You can fit it in anywhere.
We played it on a boat, on a beach, by the pool, played it in restaurants and bars and cafe. Any chance of playing Boop, we played it.
So yeah, if you're wanting something that travels well, you take your quilt and you take some cats and you're done.
Yeah.
So yeah. We also played My City Roll and Build, which we played quite a lot on holiday, which was super fun. It's giving you different objectives each chapter. I think there's 12 or 13 chapters in the one. We've also been playing My Island, which we do have a 5 reasons to play for, which is soon releasing. So it's interesting to compare those two. This is sort of like the travel friendly baby brother to My Island, the sibling of My City original.
Because I really enjoy My Island. Obviously, watch our video if you haven't seen that already. And I haven't played My City, so it's interesting to play all through My Island, play the whole of that, and then play the roll and build version of that. And any roll and write or draw and write are really great when you're out and about and you have a limited space. Just idea of playing by the pool really. And
again, whilst we were on holiday, it was a great one to just have out in the evening over a drink or sat by the lounge in the day once you've dried off from the pool. Should we play another chapter? And it's quite quick and easy to go, and it's interesting because you've got something new and different to do each time you're playing a different chapter, and you can sort of select, all right, so let's do chapters 3, 6, and 9, and then we'll make them we'll take the best score out of the 3 of them, or you can just play one game, or you can go the whole way through. You have options there, so that's quite nice. Yeah, we really enjoyed that. We also played whilst on holiday. An interesting one to take away. It was Back to the Future, A Letter from the Past, was it called? And so it's kind of like an escape room, but Back to the Future theme. So not by Kosmos as a stand, but to the future escape.
You might have seen this in the video we did of games we're playing on holiday. And we played it over a series of 2 nights. So it is very exity. It's clearly inspired by that and obviously based on Back to the Future. But I think it's a nice. Often you see kind of licensed games and they say, oh, it's Back to the Future. Let's go to the future. And then that's the extent of it. This is actually quite ingrained in particularly the third film, actually, in those films. There's also very small references in there. But all of these kind of escape room games are as good as the puzzles were. And I think there were, on the whole, probably 80% of them were great. There's a couple of dud ones.
Yeah, the first section that we did, I think we thought, oh gosh, this is taking longer than anticipated. I'm not sure, is it going to be a bit of a trudge by the time we get to the end? But the second half whisked through a lot quicker, so we sort of made up time.
There is
sort of over the whole journey of it.
It's nicely done. There's good art and interesting surprises, good twists, which I like. And it is it is reusable. You don't destroy anything when you're playing it.
No, it's variety of puzzles, I think, in terms of the
There's
styles
one
of them.
rubbish one though. In the first one where it gives you the answer, and I've looked on BGG since, on forums and saying I don't understand this. It literally just requires you to know a very obscure reference in Back to the Future, which I knew the answer to, but then I thought like I couldn't solve this puzzle by doing the puzzle. I solved the puzzle because I knew the answer before, and that was the right answer. And I thought that was
Yeah,
just a bit
yeah,
rubbish. But on the whole, yeah,
yeah,
if you like Back to the Future and you like escape games, it's a no-brainer.
yeah, for sure. Um, We have spoken about A Fake Artist Goes to New York quite a bit, but we did play it at the expo in the evenings, and it was fun to have that kind of group setting, meet up with some friends you've not seen probably since the last expo, and just have a bit of a giggle,
Yeah,
really. So, and just, I think it's notable because just so easy to travel with these tiny little boxes,
yeah.
and grab one in a
I
hotel
think
lobby and have a lovely time with something so small and so easy. Yeah,
we took every kind of game of those, every one game we had
yeah,
with us were just there, and they're easy to play, and they're quick to explain.
yeah. I've been playing um, Lord of the Rings Adventure to Mount Doom because of work. So I have done on the Cosmos channel a sort of unboxing of it, and we have played the game. Um, with work to try and work out how it plays and sort of how we will tell people more about it upon its launch. So I'm sure we'll have more to say
Yeah,
about that later. You haven't
I'm
played it
looking forward to
as
playing
yet.
it because other kind of similar games from Cosmos I've really enjoyed. So
Yeah.
Robin Hood, obviously Andor, we've really enjoyed the family edition of Andor as well.
Mhm.
So I'm looking forward to it because I love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's a great theme. The artwork on the cards is glorious. And yeah, interesting sort of co-op, mixing decisions and some interesting mechanisms in there. So I'm sure we'll talk more about that in the future dates. But yeah, it's been fun so far. Um, Viking Raiders was one of the few games I actually got to play at the expo, and it's made it to my game of the month. We also had great fun playing that one on holiday as well.
Hmm.
Again, a nice small compact box, easy to travel with, great cards. Love the way that when you first play the game, the cards are all set out in order for you to learn how to play. So they'll start you off with knowing the sort of basics, and then you'll come across another card and it'll go, you've not seen one of these cards before. This does this. Add these in, and when you see this, you'll be able to do X, Y, Z. And then the same thing happens a little bit later when a new card comes out. Um, and so it sort of walks you through those first plays, which is greatly appreciated for games like that. But just loads of fun raiding, fun Viking action,
Yeah.
berserking, Yggdrasil, Valhalla. It's all in there,
Yep.
and it's a super fun game. So check out the game of the month that Julian was talking about earlier, and I talk more about that one in
I can
there.
see why I got the awards at the UK Games Expo.
Mm,
It's a fantastic
yeah,
card game.
yeah. You picked up 8 Minute Empire
I did, yeah.
in the Bring and Buy. It's right here, in fact, and we managed to have a little play of that, which is much much more simple than I was
Yeah.
imagining. I suppose I didn't know too much about it, and I knew it was one of the earlier games. But compared to the sort of Red Raven games we have played, it's very much sort of lighter, and it's certainly a great entry point.
I was
Um,
a little bit disappointed. I'm pleased I got it, and it was a good price, but I love those games, particularly Sleeping Gods, for their story. And there is no story at all in this. It's got a nice
mm,
art, but doesn't have the character art, which I love as well. It reminded me, which isn't a criticism, because I really like them, of a Tiny Epic game.
mhm,
So it was quick to play, quick to understand, and kind of really quite self-contained.
mhm.
But I just expecting more. I expected a narrative. I expected an adventure. It's not quite what I got.
Yeah, I think that we will gravitate towards those slightly deeper Red Ravens that have that glorious artwork on the table as you're playing, and that little bit more in future plays. But it is a
It's
nice
yeah.
option still. You managed to play, which I'm super excited about, and a little bit sad that I didn't get to play at the expo. But you got to play AstroNavigators, yeah, which looks glorious. I can't wait to table it. I mean, those characters, who doesn't want to see like a jaguar and a penguin and
Sir Patrick Moore,
and
as I
a
was correctly as I
yeah
was corrected in the comments.
and a
It's
koala?
Yeah,
go to
it's
space by the looks of it.
it was probably my game of the expo. It's so fantastic to sit down with Vince, and we were going to play some, but we just ended up chatting. And his enthusiasm for this game was really infectious. I'm hoping you're going to learn it because it's
Yes.
quite a complex game. But
Yeah.
what's good about it is it's kind of builds and builds and builds. So you start off with some of the elements, and then once you've got the hang of that, you then have a new element you can learn that makes the game slightly more complex. And by the end of it, there's another section you can learn which makes the game actually very, very complicated and a good, deep game.
I
Um,
like the idea that you've got that variety of what you add in when, depending on who you're playing with, maybe,
Absolutely.
or how long you've got and things like that. That you can level that. I think that's a really nice thing. And I mean, the artwork,
Yeah. We're going to be talking about it a lot.
yeah.
We've got a longer video coming up, close towards when it launches.
Once I get
And
to play
and
it,
what's great about the game is it's based on science.
yeah.
It's obviously has various animals in space, but the grounding of the game is scientifically based, and I think that's great. I
Mm.
love the star chart that's inherent to the game, and then that affects what stars you can see various times throughout the year, and I think all those things are brilliant to include in the game. And I can't wait. I can't wait for you to play it
No,
because I
I
think this
mean,
is going to be absolutely your cup of tea.
yeah, I mean, I'm a member of a stargazing club because where my parents live is one of the darkest places, and so it's really good for looking up at the night sky and just having a wondrous time looking at planets and all of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, the idea of this theme just sings
Yeah,
for me. So super
and
excited.
yeah, I one of your rare free moments at the expo, I said you've got to come and meet this designer, because this game is great, and it's we can talk a lot more about it, but rest assured, I
Yeah,
really, really
you really
enjoyed
enjoyed
playing it.
it. Yeah. Um, Of course, we've played Disney Animated, which we already have a Five Reasons to Play. So if you've missed that one on the channel, do head over and check that out. Yeah, great game, real
Yeah,
fun. Um, can't wait to play more of the different films and see how they combine in terms of their special powers and things like that already. So yeah, no, really
it's
enjoyed that.
we I say it every time we do one of these. It's always great when you end a game and you go, great, when can we play that again?
Yeah.
I really enjoy playing it.
Yeah, and I'm excited to play it. Like we've played it a couple of times at a higher player count. I'm excited to see a bit more of how we get on and how those combinations of two films
Yes.
a little bit more. Are you are you gonna stick with Mickey for a few and I'll mix it up, or
Mhm.
do you want to see what
I
happens
see,
with
because
different things?
as you said in the five reasons, it ends up playing quite differently at two compared to four because then you've got less people dealing with the calamities. Um, Obviously, then you've got more chances of getting the actions you want. So it's interesting how it evolves and changes with different player counts. So
Yeah, and I like when we were playing at higher player counts. I mean, yes, it's a cooperative, but there was very much like I finished my back run.
wow,
Oh yes, my villain is defeated.
yeah,
And I wonder, if it become more of a race or more cooperative, like the more we play it at two. So that'll be interesting to see how that sort of evolves as we
mm,
continue to play. But yeah, really fun. I mean, of course, there was a lot of Dodo playing at the
there was.
expo. Very notable because the World Championships.
We were lucky to be there for the first annual Dodo World Trip. If you're at the expo, you probably know what you talked about.
You might recognise the compare.
Or the Dodo Man, as I had it, and for all the silliness of what that was. Obviously, this is a children's game, but we're taking it very, very seriously on the Cosmos stand. But
Because it made it funnier.
yeah, but what was great, and obviously Dodo, it's fantastic that it won both the People's Choice and the Judges' Choice for best children's game.
Yeah.
And we did see that. I got recognised by a small child going, "Daddy, it's the Dodo Man." And to be honest, as embarrassing as that was, I'm so pleased that so many children played this, and it maybe will have been their highlight of the whole weekend.
I mean, but don't be fooled. There was many an adult team playing Dodo.
There were some adult teams taking it probably more seriously than the family teams.
Yeah, yeah.
So much so, a team came back every single day to try to win. I wouldn't be surprised if
ages really well.
wouldn't be surprised if they've got a copy to practice in the hotel room in between. But it was lots of fun playing.
It was a lot of fun, yeah. So that was definitely notable, and that's where I spent the majority of my days at the expo. Maybe a Dodo keeper hat on,
May well
maybe
be.
not. Who knows?
The egg was released.
We played food trucks.
Yes.
That was fun. We love a food truck. So to see that there was a game about food trucks was fun. So we took it away on holiday. Yeah, we were there sorting out our burger vans and our kebabs and our Greek and all sorts of
It's an
things. It
intriguing
was
one
fun.
because you're basically trying to play your cards, but hoping that someone else hasn't played it yet.
Yes, yeah. You want to play something out that you know someone else has a few of in their
Yes.
hand. If you play it early doors,
So,
and then you know the rest of them that you have in your hands, you can just play out whenever because they're not going to be able to play those out. And so it gets quite strategic in terms of when you play your unique dessert card to sort of buy you a turn, when you get something out to try to block your opponent, and when you're getting the ones that you know that you've pulled from the stack that are also probably likely to be individual, you think / hope. At that point in time, and so it really does get into those mind
yeah,
games
it's
again as to
it's
what you're going to play when.
it's a bit memorizing cards, trying to work out second guessing as well, and yeah,
Yeah.
It's an intriguing one. This one was felt quite different. It's quite
Yeah, and I feel like if you like that sort of sushi go nuts for donuts,
Mhm.
that style of game, it certainly fits within that genre, doing something different. I definitely think it'd be interesting to play at a higher player count. We played on holiday, so it was just the two of us.
Yeah.
But I think it'd probably sing at a little bit
I
of a
think
higher
4 would be
count.
a good player count for it.
Yeah, so it was. We also played the Isle of Trains whilst we were away,
Yeah.
which was also a lot of fun. More fun of a train game than I was imagining, I would
Yeah.
say, actually.
So yeah, we've been talking a lot about trading games here. So we're just playing a lot of Imperial Spells and Steams. Have a watch of that if you haven't already seen our 5 reasons to play that game.
Mm.
But yeah, this was an interesting one because it won awards at the Games Expo, so I was
Yeah.
intrigued for that reason. But it's a bizarre game in that you want to do well for yourself, you want to deliver your goods, but it's not when you've got your cards in your hand, you really want to basically give them to your opponent at opportune moment, so they then are helped with their deliveries, but you're then getting the benefits on their cards.
Yeah, if you don't help your opponent by sort of filling their train, you're not getting the resources at the rate that you need them. You'll
Hmm.
be getting them so slowly, a little trickle, that you'll be falling behind. So you have to help your opponent and sort of give them a leg up in order that you get all the resources and the things
Yeah,
that you need. So that is a really interesting dynamic between you. You're kind of racing to be able to complete stuff, but it feels alien to have to help someone with
yeah,
their race.
yeah. I've looked at
Really.
the earlier versions. Obviously, this is a new version.
Mhm.
I think it's now called All Aboard, which has got passengers in, which I think does change things a lot because then you'll start weighing up doing deliveries and kind of getting those multiple scoring opportunities on one turn. And often I've seen in older views of the earlier versions, it didn't have enough cards, and that's certainly been solved now because that's a big old deck of cards you've got
Yeah,
in there.
yeah, yeah.
And it's fun, when you upgrade your engine so you can carry more carriages, or when you upgrade the carriages. There are lots of things that go on, and yeah.
Yeah, and you have your passengers that you're going out to deliver, and are you going to get the one that you're kind of hoping to get or
Hmm.
not? And when are you going to get them on board so you can take them somewhere?
Yeah, should you focus on passengers and have like a coach that just can have lots of passengers in? Maybe deliver multiple passengers at once. Lots of things that go on, and you don't necessarily suspect that. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's an intriguing one.
and again in a nice compact box, and we managed to play it on a relatively small table whilst away. So a standard sort of bistro table, I suppose, do we call it? So nice, relatively compact.
I surprised, but
Me too. Me too. Yeah, because train games aren't normally my go-to, and I quite enjoyed it. So yeah,
joined a lot of train games recently.
exactly. Another game we very much enjoyed recently, which I can't believe is the first time that we have played it, because I mean we love Marvel,
But yes,
and how have we not played Marvel United before now? Well, I can tell you why. Because somebody
I'm scared.
is scared,
Hmm.
yes, that if we buy the base game, it will be a slippery slope to everything that's ever been
And
made Marvel United, which, yeah, it probably would be.
yeah,
No, no, no. Kai would, no, I don't know what I'm saying. Of course, I wouldn't be
it's
restrained.
so it's a it's a cool mini or not game, so there's a lot of stuff to buy, and obviously a lot of stuff that was Kickstarter exclusive, which is now very expensive to buy. We really enjoyed it when we played
I
it.
did really, really enjoy it. And at this stage in time, don't quote me on this later, I feel like I'd be happy with like the base game, maybe Guardians, and perhaps one other
Yeah, I'm buying
expansion,
Captain Carter on her own if I can.
obviously. Um, but yeah, I thought
We,
it was super fun. We had a great time and really interesting that you can use what your opponents put out and
yeah.
sort of what they're doing and which one they play when, how that sort of affects what you can do, and is that giving you a bonus or not? And moving to different locations and sort of you're basically fighting fires in all these different places, aren't
Mhm.
you? And trying to sort of balance out how you do things. And I think we rushed at it a little bit to our
Yeah, so we
detriment,
weren't
if we're
successful.
honest.
So we're playing our friend's copy, and he's got all the painted minis,
Hmm.
and they're lovely minis to paint.
Yeah, yeah, they look
And
good
that
to
does
me.
tempt me. I think if they were to release Star Wars version,
Oh,
we would be all over.
oh. I mean, I am, as I said, Guardians does sound great.
Mhm. Yeah.
It does sound great. So
I can see why
watch
lots of
this
people
space.
get excited about it. I can see the appeal of that. So
Won't be on the next haul video, but let's just see what
we'll
happens
see
for
what
that,
happens.
right? Oh dear. We've got Moonrakers. And that was interesting. You love that style
I
of
love the
artwork.
art, and I very nearly backed it
Uh,
because of the art. It's kind of got this space neon cyberpunky look on it.
mhm.
I'm not sure how much I enjoyed playing it because maybe it's the player count they were working at was just too big, but the whole bargaining thing was hard to keep track of.
Yeah, yeah, it was quite a high play count, and when it did come round to right, I'm just going to go all in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's see if I can do this ridiculous mission. It was hard to sort of be like, okay, so what are you contributing again, and what were you contributing, and what does that leave me
I
left
promised
with?
you what?
Oh gosh, and what were you now ending up having? Is that more than I'm even
Well,
benefiting?
I had that. I was like, I'm gonna do this mission. You can all help me, and I'll give you, victory points. I'll give you money, and at the end of it, everyone else got more money than I did, and it was just like, oh, no, I've kind of basically helped you all win.
Yeah, that didn't ever happen to me. I was way too greedy.
It was okay,
But
but I don't
okay,
think it's for me.
yeah, I'd like to play it again at maybe three
Yeah.
player count. And I think at that point you can sort of wrangle who's doing what, get an idea of what people are capable of, and whether they're going to backstab you or not. Because I mean, I probably I probably shouldn't have let someone down on the first mission that he tried to get me on board with, should I?
Yeah, I'll help.
Well, I realised we weren't going to make
I
it,
guess I
so then I
won't
was like,
help them.
I'm out.
I do really love the art of it, and I love the characters in it, and it's all good. Maybe another try, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I think just another play would be good for that one. We've been playing My Gold Mine,
Yes.
which I had learned in term for the expo, and you hadn't played, but
Nope.
has since played with your daughters. You were teaching it to them last Sunday morning, in fact,
Yes.
and going on little ventures, seeing how much gold those dwarves can come out of that mine with
So
without getting singed.
they described it as deep sea adventure mixed with clank.
Okay.
It's fun. You're basically you're going in the mine. Do you go forward or do you collect stuff and hope that doesn't send you towards a dragon? That's pretty much it. And
Yeah.
it's one of those games where off the shelf, played a whole game, back on the shelf within 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think the playtime on the box is like 25
Yeah,
minutes, and that,
and
that
that's
is
and
realistic.
that includes
Yeah,
the teach. They've never played it
yeah,
before. I hadn't played it before. You briefly talked me through it, so I
yeah.
knew what the gist of it was. But this is working through the rules. We had a game on the shelf. Everyone was happy.
And they've not really played that kind of push your
No,
luck kind of game, or and it's interesting because some of the cards, some of the exit cards, allow you to manipulate your players. You might be able to swap places with them and then put one of them in danger, perhaps, or you might be able to push one of them out of the mine before they're really wanting to leave, and so that can add some sort of fun
it's
and
yeah.
excitement to the game for
The best
sure.
card is there's an as a exit card. There's a flea card. Which gives you the choice. You can go one step closer towards the exit, or you can take 3 gold. And it's amazing how tempting that is. It's like
Yeah,
I might die now, but 3 gold.
3 gold. Ooh, yeah, because you know that you've only picked up the exit card because you need to leave because that dragon is edging in closer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the point that you are thinking about
3
that gold
gold.
is
3
needed.
gold.
Also greedy,
They
aren't
want gold.
they? Yeah, they do. It's fun. And great for travel as well. It's the open and play range with the magnetic shut. Small box again.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, yeah, pick out your
Oh,
cards and away you
cards.
go, ready
Yeah.
to play. Yeah, which is fun. Oh, we had another in-person play of Root, which is always notable
Yep.
because it's so amazing. And yes, I love playing it on the app, but like to actually get to play it in person to really get to grips with it, especially when it's a sort of faction that you're not 100% with,
Yes.
when you're sort of fumbling about on the app, and then all of a sudden it sort of clicks and makes sense as to what you're meant to be doing with that one.
I'd hardly recommend the app to learn the factions.
Yeah.
Brilliant tutorials on there, and I think it's a good app. But there's something so special, particularly when I was playing the Otters, which are one of my favourite factions, because then you have the sales pitch. It's like, oh, I can see you need rivers. You can do that move. Please give me 2 of your workers. And you don't have that on the app. You don't
Right.
have that sales pitch. And I think similarly, the Corvo Conspiracy, which have just come to the app, suffer a little bit with the, guessing what their conspiracies
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
There's something so fantastic about.
You have that bantering.
Yeah.
Oh, you think it's a raid? Do you? Interesting. You could just really
You
add to
have that,
something that
and I
way.
think both those factions are better. The game is better in person,
Yeah.
and it's my favorite game for a reason. Every time we play it, we play 3 hours, 5 players,
Yeah.
and that had no vagabonds, so it was a crowded board.
Yeah, it was fun. There were lizards, there was Lord of the Hundreds, there was
The cats were there. The Eerie player had a great turn. We had a whole decree of probably 9 cards. I think he managed, but then it all fell apart, and he lost a lot of points.
Oh no, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be because
Yeah, I think in the end I lost 5 because
and I was trying to learn the lizard, so I was never really expecting to do well. But yeah, I didn't. I struggled with the hand cards.
it's so good though,
But
and it's
it was
amazing
amazing.
how it plays differently with different combinations of factions. And
Hmm.
we talked about the Hirelings and how good they are. Probably didn't have any Hirelings at 5 players; that'd be madness. But yeah, so good.
Yes. Right. So, next is a game called Ruthless that I played at the Expo as
Yeah,
well. One of the evenings we managed to catch up with some of our friends.
so it's
And
Dan from Dan at DB Games
yes,
and his wife.
you've got this piratey card play, and you're just trying to work out who wants what. There is an option to pick a card from sort of a line there, and you might know that someone's going to be after that particular number. They seem to be collecting them or something like that. So, you've got to pick that up just to block your opponent.
Well,
Or
when I came back from my trip to Qatar, yeah, there was a lot of excitement and raised voices of pirate shenanigans going. It's a game I hope I'm going to get to play as well. So.
yeah, but I think closest that we have in the collection would probably be something like Port Royal in terms of similarity. But yeah, a lot of fun. It was fun.
What was nice is that was also if you go to the UK Games Expo and you don't play games in the evening, you are sincerely missing out. It's so much fun to be after you've seen all these lovely games to just sit down with people. We sit down with people we'd never met before,
Yeah, we did. We
and
did.
played a game of we taught in Hollywood, 1947, and it was great just to sit down and play games with people. Another game we played was Bricks and Mortar,
Yes.
which we played
Yes.
actually in the Hilton, which is another place you can go to play board games. And we played it with a lovely couple who taught us it and just bought it at the expo.
They had, they have their little trolley that's got their games that they bought in it, and they've made themselves a little flag saying "Players Wanted." And that was because we were walking around looking for a table, looking for some people to play with. And the expo does provide something like that. But it was super helpful that they'd sort of brought their own one along. And I think it's potentially something we'll consider in the
Yeah,
future.
definitely.
But they were just like, yeah, we're happy to take some extra people. And they taught us this game. Lovely production. Really interesting kind of, shop mechanisms of
Well,
who's got warehouses, or you were doing some
well,
dodgy
my
stuff.
my plan was to basically you're getting resources and you're bidding for which ones you want to buy and how much you're happy to pay for them. But all of my shops were basically getting whatever wasn't bought and trying to sell them on at a profit.
what Julian was doing in this game, he was taking from the supermarkets that were meant to go to charity food to the homeless and people like that, and then instead of giving them to the charity or the homeless, he was selling them. He is terrible.
I'm the worst.
A terrible person.
The worst person when I'm playing bricks and mortar. Didn't pay off. I didn't win.
Well, I'm focused on the jewellery and the art world, darling, of course.
I was also trying to palm off jewellery as art in equal. I was just the worst.
Yeah.
My shops are awful.
Dodgy dealer.
It was a fun game, and they'd seen it on the show floor and were intrigued by it, but they hadn't played it, so we kind of felt our way through the first game, and by the end of it, we all kind of got it, and it's fun. And yeah, like I said, it's great to be at the expo and just meet fun people, and that's what's, we said it lots of times, we're talking about in the run up to the UK Games Expo. All those people there are as enthusiastic about board games as you are, otherwise they wouldn't be at a board game expo, and they wouldn't be staying really late at a board game expo to play more board games after spending all day playing board games.
Yeah.
So you should never be shy about saying, if you're looking for someone to join, we're happy to join. I think it's
definitely. Another one that you brought home from the expo was your sort of gambit game, Sleuth.
Right. Sleuth, yes.
Which was kind of like entry-level children's Cluedo.
It's definitely a children's game. I knew it was. It's £3. I've said lots of times I enjoy detective games, and I thought maybe there'd be detective elements in this. It's essentially a faster version of Cluedo. Not entirely perfect game. We're going to house rule it next time we play sometimes, because there's an element of asking someone, can you show me this? Oh, I've already seen that card. Which is frustrating. But the four of us played it, so my girls, and we all sat down and played it.
With it,
it was
they
good.
were excited to find out
right
whether
level.
it was the rope and whether it was no. There are different characters than the Cluedo characters, but you are finding out the location, the reason for the murder, who was murdered, which one was the victim. Even apparently, you don't even know that.
No, you're terrible investigator. And there's lots of fun parody names in there.
There is.
It's a lovely production, and well worth £3.
Yeah, for £3, sure.
Yes, it is a better buy than my last year's random buy for less than £5 a game at the expo.
Yeah, I mean, they really enjoyed it, so I think we'll play again. It's just us. I don't think that it would see the table again.
It's a family game.
It's certainly for younger ones. Yeah. Cool. Star Wars Rivals we've been playing. We've even ended up picking up a couple of new characters, so that tells you how much we liked it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or how obsessed with Star Wars we are, one or the other.
Well, it's got really nice minis. And we met Cole at the expo, who is the most wonderful person. And his enthusiasm for Star Wars Rivals, just when we were talking about it, made us want to pick up our own copy. And I'm pleased we did, because it's been tricky to get since. And it's a two-player dueling game. Similar, very lucky. It's very swingy as well, but sometimes it's just fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think the more you play, the more sort of you'll get different strategies come in and be like, oh, just need that card. Yeah. And you'll get to learn as different characters come out, whether you're kind of bombarding one location, whether you're going to try and spread across and then manage that once you know what's happening.
Even within your first game, you start learning tactics and knowing, okay, it's not worth me going to every location, because statistically the chances of that, I'm going to play the averages. And
then you're probably giving up a location, which means you're giving up points to your opponent, definitely. And then are you gonna be able to enough from the other ones that you are going to be dueling it out on to sort of keep you ahead of the game? So that is an interesting thought space.
If you are going to go down the Star Wars Rivals route, do know that you need expansions. You need to get more characters, because yes, there is enough in the base box to play a game, but 2 of those characters are just tokens and they're much weaker. So you are going to have to get more characters, and the more characters you get, the more variety you get, and therefore the better the game is. But just be mindful of that, because it's got a very low price point. I think it's less than £20 to buy the base game, but yes, you will be getting extra characters. Yeah,
but it's something that your girls are going to really enjoy again, and will really enjoy separately.
And you do get a nice mini. You get nice minis from them, and they're are they worth £5 an item? Maybe.
Yeah, but it's a nice thing that you can sort of, as occasions come up and reasons to buy something, it's a nice sort of, not necessarily for Christmas, but that kind of stocking filler kind
Yeah.
of thing that you can just be like, an extra character, excellent. And then later on in the year, maybe there's another reason to get another one, and you can just add them slowly, here and there. You don't need to go all in
No, you don't.
initially by any stretch, but you can get to know some characters and then, you know, add to that as you go along.
And I think the combination we've got at the moment, so obviously we've got the base game, we've got 4 characters, and we've bought now 2 light side characters, 2 dark side characters. I think that's a good amount to get a nice party going.
You played String Railway.
I did, yeah. So this is a remake from the people who made a game we really like called Overstocked. And they're making a remake of an older game that's based on a Japanese designer's work. And it looks like a children's game. You're basically laying out pieces of string, but it's so tactical. You've got 3 shorter lengths, I think it was, and 1 longer length, and you're having to link up stations. But then you can start using other people's stations to score points as well. And the string, you have to be really precise. You quickly realise that leaving a little sliver of a gap might be enough space for someone to put a string in as well. And you can't cross strings, so then you can start blocking people off and force them to go the long way around the mountain. We're going to be talking lots more about it in future videos, so I'm not going to say too much now. But it was such a surprise, and I think in one of the vlog videos I talk about how it's great to discover like something you kind of dismissed a little bit. Because I went there to actually get another scoreboard for
You
Overstocked
did,
because
yeah.
we left it in the back in the folded it on the plane when we're playing Overstocked on the plane. So I got another score pad. And then while we're there, we talked about their upcoming games, including String Railway. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was very pleasantly surprised. Good family weight game. Enough there that you can play it and have with adults. To be honest, you can play it and have a proper thoughtful game with games.
Mm. Next up, we've played Tidal Blades Banner Festival and really enjoyed that. I mean, we love Tidal Blades, the art, the world. I mean, this is in that same universe, but a completely different game, card based, almost trick taking. I would say
Yeah,
but sometimes you want to lose the trick.
it's a trick taking game where winning, not winning, and coming last are equally desirable.
Depending on where you are at that point in the game and what you're trying to achieve at that moment.
So
So
sometimes you're
that's interesting.
deliberately trying to lose. I don't know if it is a trick. It is a trick taking game, but it's not in a way because sometimes you're deliberately trying to get the middle one.
Mm-hmm.
And with 2 players, it's really great actually because you have an extra character, but you know one of their cards that's played, and you don't know one of the others. So that gives you a kind of steer, but not enough to be able to be certain about things. And yeah, you're then playing the averages of the other card and trying to second guess what your opponent's got and what they're trying to do.
And what you often really want to do is lose the trick completely, but with a high numbered card. So that
That's actually a really good plan.
yeah, because that's going to give you this special ability, which is probably better than what you would achieve if you were to either be middle of the ground or if you were to win. That trick, you're going to get that special action. But to do that with a high card is quite risky.
Yes.
Even if it's a low color, which is so they sort of rank changes depending on where the gate is, in which color is going to be sort of effectively your trump, and in which order they're going to go from there. And then yeah, so if you can manage to lose a trick with an 8 or a 9, like you're going to get a little streak ahead there, which I managed to do once
Yes.
in one of our games. I was like, yes.
I've been saying a lot. We got a video of that coming up, so we're not going to talk too much more
Yeah.
about that. But it's spoiler
A
warning.
lot of fun.
You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and the art's amazing, isn't it?
Squishy
Great
freight.
art. We played Vaalbara, which I can't wait to play again. Really want to get into the teeth of that with again another nice compact card game, one that we took on holiday with us. And you've each got different characters within your clan that you'll choose to play, and you're going to get special bonuses if yours is the lower number, if yours is the higher number, if you've got a certain number of different types of scenery already in play. And so you've kind of got to second guess what your opponent's going to put out. and what they even have in their hand to put out at that point in time, you know. So again, it's like mind games, those small card mind games. There's been quite a few of those.
Had lots of card mind
Yeah.
games.
Again, really loving the art in this one as well. I'm sure it's one we'll probably will talk about again, but
yeah, we even tried to play that on a plane, but the table was too small. Such was our kind of enthusiasm to play it again. Really great game. I'm looking forward to playing it.
yeah, I can't wait to play that again and really get into the teeth of it. So yeah, that'd be great. And you have quite a few others that you
Yeah.
played at the expo.
Well, so I was wandering around. Obviously, I had lots of actually meetings and meeting, which was fantastic to see upcoming games, and we'll be talking about them in future videos. But I did get to sit down and play some games, which was great. I got to play Undaunted Battle of Britain, which my first experience of playing an Undaunted game. It was one of my 10 games I was looking forward to at the expo. And I can see why people love those Undaunted games.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't have anything to compare it to, but what's great about Battle of Britain is it's kind of got this continuous motion. You're always moving planes around. So it does genuinely feel like these dogfights as you're kind of moving around, trying to position your plane so you can attack the opponent while trying to complete, what your take advantage of your pilot skill, your aces skill. Lots of things are going on in that game, and we'll be playing it together.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And it's a really great starting point if you haven't played a Undaunted game before. It's made me want to pay much more attention to the series now. And yeah, I'm worried. That's going to be we're talking about earlier. I felt slippery slopes. Should be
There's
that.
another one.
So that was another one. And
Isle of Cats you played as well.
I played Isle of Cats, which I'd never played, which is ridiculous because I love cats. And yeah, so it's a polyomino placing game. You're trying to fit cats on the boat, and lots of people love that. And I think rightly so. It's a real quite thinky game, where it starts off very simple. There's lots of opportunities and where to put these cats, sleepy cats, on the boat. Then, but as it goes on, as it progresses, you're like, oh no. Oh, no, I've got these awkward shaped cats and nowhere to put them. So I really enjoyed it. I very nearly bought it.
At this rate, we're going to have you a cat Calax unit, aren't we? And you're going to have Boop in there, and you're going to have Isle of Cats in there.
If we hadn't acquired so many games already at that point, I would have bought it. We didn't. And I made up for cat love by playing Dog Park.
You did.
Which was an intriguing game. It's really cute, and I must confess, I was picking dogs based on which dogs I thought were the good boys. Who's got the boopable who had the most boopable snout. It's a fun game. It's family weight, which I thought it'd be slightly heavier, but it is more family weight. And I think some expansions that are coming. I think New Tricks is coming on Kickstarter or just ended. Is going to add more complexity and a bigger player count.
Interesting.
And also crossbred dogs.
Oh.
So you get more interesting dogs. And such a lovely production, such a beautiful.
Yeah,
production.
the artwork on that looks amazing.
And you're then trying to work out, there's an element of push your luck. How long do I spend in the park before the gates get closed and I'm locked in the park? Which I wasn't anticipating.
Did you get locked in the park?
I did get locked in the park because we enjoyed playing with the ball so much.
Ah, I see.
And we're kind of gathering different
fetch.
We're gathering kind of not resources, but things as you're going around the park, and they're like, "Oh, there's 2 balls there, and you love balls, don't you?" Oh, we're locked in the park again.
Oh,
it's a great game. I enjoyed playing it. I think for the right family of dog lovers, yeah, why not? And there's lots of smaller games that you get a chance to play. So I got to play Cloud Foxes briefly, which is a really intriguing game, which I'm looking forward to playing more of. Because I got to play that right at the end of the expo when it's kind of all shutting down, and I had to get back to Ring and Buy to collect our goodies and our wealth, our bounty of money from our sales there. So I was limited on time and but that's a really clever game of kind of using kind of grid coordinates to work out where you're going to put things. Really intriguing concept, actually, and a lovely production. Looks really nice. And some more Pandora Celeste, which I got to play from Guntower Games, and that we talked about it quite a lot because we've seen the evolution of that game as it's gone. Because it's backed by one of our friends is the designer of the game.
And this was the first time that they had the box out that has the full aircon system, and you sort of basically open the box out, take out the sort of stacks of cards that are put in there, and then there you are, that's the board, and it uses those sections of storage for the gameplay, which I think is
lots of people
fantastic.
are saying how clever it is, that unfolding board. it's not just a gimmick. It's so quick to table, and then that becomes part of the game. And it's very easy to tell who's in the air duct and who isn't. And yeah, I love all the in jokes you're getting in that. So for sci-fi fans, this is a game you want to keep your eye out on because it's a love letter. Mike often says to those science fiction films.
Definitely.
There's lots of references in that. But yeah, the last game we played was
Walking in Burano, the roll and write. Yeah, so that was really fun. Again, that was another one that we took on holiday with us. Perfect for holiday, you know, bright, colourful dice, and you've got to make these decisions about your cats. There's more cats.
Yeah.
And your chimneys and who you're doing what with, whose special powers you're activating, whether you can afford to do them, so whether you've got to get yourself some money to sort of keep in the race with your opponent as to what you think that they might be doing.
I was surprised by the depth.
Really loved it. Yeah, loads of decisions.
Absolutely, you know, and like I was saying earlier, early decisions are easy. You go, well, I can do that helps in lots of things. And then you start having to go, I've got this visitor coming. And where am I going to place them? Because once they're placed, you can't move them. And then you're like, you make the mistake I did and go, well, I can't place that one there, which is a maximum score I could have got for her because someone else I've already put Father Christmas there.
Yeah, or you sort of start out early thinking, right, okay, well, that one's got a lot of cats in it. So if I try and put that visitor in there, I'll hopefully I'll be able to maximise those. And then sort of something else happens, you're doing other things, and you get towards the end of the game and you're thinking, oh, I haven't focused on these cats. I need to try and get those numbers and you sort of panic to sort of maximize everyone out and get those last bits that you're trying to achieve.
You're trying to work out, do I want to use my coins for this? Do I want to leap ahead on you on the boat? Loads and loads. And I think similar to Dinosaur World, Roll and Write, there's so many decisions you have to make in this game. And I think often roll and write games are considered, you know, quite light and quite simple, but you can actually get quite heavy games in this format.
Yeah, or not necessarily difficult, but just a lot of decisions, which make them really interesting and something fun. And yeah, this one being set in Burano with all those colours of buildings and all those lovely coloured dice and things just looks wonderful and is so vibrant on the table. So definitely would recommend.
Yeah.
So I think that's our month.
It's a lot of games.
Yeah, we've still got loads that we haven't played on the shelf. So bear with us for next month.
But if any of these games have tickled your pickle, the best place to buy them is your friendly local game store.
For us, that's Chaos Cards here in the southeast of England. Obviously, if you're local, they have the store there, but they also have an online store of which you can get all manner of board games at really great prices. And we do have a one-off code for you to use if you would like that gives you 5% off on a purchase over £35. So the code for that is under here somewhere and will also be in the description if you need to check into that.
But if this is the first time you found us, we are Box Meeples. We post at least 2 videos on YouTube every single week. Love war games, so if that's your thing, we might be the channel you want to subscribe to. But do like this video if you've enjoyed our rambling about lots and lots of games. And do let us know in the comments down below which of the many we've talked about are you most excited about? Also, which games did you play at the UK Games Expo that you think we should have played as well?
Yeah, any recommendations? We'd love to have them. So we'd love to hear from you. That would be fantastic. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, all good stuff. And we will see you next time.
Yeah, so thanks so much for watching.
Bye.